chairman mic. I think it might be that one right there. Yeah.
All right, so we are at 7:01, so we are officially kicking off our candidates forum. So good evening, everyone here, everyone watching at home. We're here tonight to meet our candidates for our 2026 town election happening on March 10th, Tuesday, March 10th. We have candidates here for our open select board positions. We have two openings. We have a 3-year term opening. Sorry? We have 3 openings, excuse me. We have a 3-year term opening, a 1-year term opening. And tonight, our purpose is to get to know the candidates, allow the candidates to express, their desire for running and what they want to bring to the town. So with that, I'll just move kind of from left to right. I'll ask each of you gentlemen to introduce yourselves kind of properly. Prior to that, I did want to mention that on your ballot, the elections for select board positions will read, under seeking 3-year terms are Benson H. Goodwin and Frederick W. Hippler. That's how those names will read on the ballot. And for the 1-year term spot, Jack L. Dearborn and Cortland James Manton. So those are how those names will read on your ballot. So moving from left to right, Mr. Goodwin, you have about a minute or so to introduce yourself and provide kind of an opening statement.
Hi, Benson Goodwin. Been a Ware resident since 2013. Had a professional life as an emergency dispatcher primarily, most recently with Goffstown Police. I retired last June to do my handyman business that I have full-time. I was the Ware Animal Control Officer for a couple of years. I'm now also a Justice of the Peace and Bail Commissioner. So if you get arrested, you might get a visit from me at the police station, determine if you go home or not. So it's a pleasure to be here, and I'm happy to be running.
Great. Thank you, sir. Mr. Hippler?
Thank you. Ricky Hippler, lived in town my entire life, 39 years. I've been on the fire department for coming up on 22. Served as a captain and a lieutenant there. Currently just a firefighter EMT. Like I said, went through the Ware school districts, bought my house here. Really love the town, love the people here. Obviously, I've been on the board before for 9 years, took a couple years off, kind of re-energized the battery, and like I said, want to get back at it. Currently, right now, I've been my entire adult career, working career, I've been a heavy truck technician from dealership level to fleets, and currently work for a fleet down in Milford, New Hampshire. And like I said, spend my time with antique trucks and equipment. So, but just looking forward to getting back in the town groove. Kind of miss it.
Very good. Thank you. Mr. Manton?
My name is Cortland Manton. Lived in town since March 22. Originally grew up in southern Vermont and escaped as a political refugee to New Hampshire for better opportunities. Went to Nashua Community College for precision manufacturing, got a degree in that, and have been working at GE making jet engine parts for the last 9 years. Before that, I was working food and beverage with my parents at Mount Snow, and also building houses with my dad in the summer. So, pretty handy guy. We'll fix everything from tractors and equipment and electronics. That's my personal background on stuff. So, a lot of the technical aspects of reading documents at work, I think, will be very applicable and processing that stuff will be helpful for town. No, I don't have any experience running in town or anything like that, but I think the skill set from private life or private business will help.
Good evening.
Thank you.
Jack Dearborn, lifelong resident in town. My family's been here since the 1700s, late 1700s. They've all served in a capacity for the town of Ware in some form, select board or road agent. And I've had, since '84, it's 43 years now, service to the town of Ware in various capacities, starting out with finance committees, both the high school, Ware schools, and John Stark, and also zoning board for 36 years, CIP for 12. I'm a graduate of Ware High School, New Hampshire Tech in Concord, and I'm also from New Hampshire College in Manchester, now SNU. I spent 36 years as an engineer at BA Systems, progressing up through the engineering ranks, through chief engineer of a division management, VPGM, company, and corporate vice president. I really just want to give back to the community. I've had a lot of experience in project management, engineering, executive management, HR, and I think I can certainly add value to the position of a select board. Thank you.
Great. Thank you all. So from there, we'll move down kind of the opposite direction with some high-level questions that I think the voters would be interested in. So starting with you, Mr. Dearborn, why are you running for the select board and for this particular term?
Well, I was appointed back in June for a vacancy, and I had not ever considered doing the select board. I preferred at the point to do committees. And I was solicited by some concerned citizens in town asking me to step up, which I did, and I got appointed. And I told everybody that I'm going to be the hardest working select board member on the board. I'm retired, I have plenty of time, and leverage my experience. What do I want to step up now? I'd like to continue that, helping to leverage the select board and make it a success.
Thank you. Mr. Manton, same question. Why are you looking to run for this term in particular?
Yeah, so I'm running for this term in particular for the one-year seat. One, just to kind of get my feet wet in a town government, because it's a one-year term, so if for whatever reason I don't like it or the townspeople don't like it, they're not stuck with me for another 2 years. On top of that, I didn't run any previous years because I wanted to kind of get a sense of this town, see what this community is like. I like towns like this because it reminds me of what I grew up with, and I also saw the flaws that town had and the directions it went. And I don't want this town to go that way. I want this to be a place where future generations of my family want to stay and live and grow up and can thrive. So that's my reasoning for running for the one-year term.
Great. Mr. Hippler?
Like I said, I took a couple years off. I served as chairman of the board for a few years. But I still have very good contact with the department heads, with the employees here in the town. We have a very good employee base here. And, you know, again, I feel as if they're kind of our strongest backbone, is our employees. And I kind of want to bring back that you know, that contact between the board and them. Kind of they can air to me. I can kind of come up with ideas for this. I like to give back to the town. I always have. There's been many of nights I've been here, days off that I was here. You know, I obviously with 22 years on the department, you know, giving back to the town's in my blood. So to say I missed it, I do miss it. As many nights as I went home with my head hanging low and this is why am I doing this, I missed it. And that's kind of why I signed back up, because I miss the contact, again, with the citizens, the good and bad at the other side of the podium. And, you know, I'm kind of a problem solver, and I like to try and rectify problems, good or bad, you know, if everybody's happy or not, but at least rectify that problem.
Thank you. Same question, Mr. Goodwin, why this particular term?
Sure. Like Jack, I was appointed last June when the vacancies opened up. And I was, at the time, in the process of retiring from dispatch, and I knew I'd have some time to serve. During the last few months that I've served, I've grown to really appreciate the role that we have as a select board. It's an extreme honor to be on the board, and I was delighted to be chosen to be appointed. And unfortunately, there's nobody but Ricky and I running for the 3-year term. I wish there had been more people, because I believe that the best towns are served by a population that engages and comes out and volunteers to be on the board. So I am in a position that I can do that. I've always tried to give back. I tried to get in the military when I was younger, and unfortunately I had some issues medically that I wasn't able to get on. So public safety was where I landed, and giving back to where I live is part of who I am. The 3-year term made more sense to me because I feel like I have a lot to offer, and I feel like just a few months isn't enough time, and even a 1-year term is just, I want to serve longer and help as much as I can to be a responsible steward for the position we have.
Thank you. So back to Mr. Dearborn. Can you describe what qualifications you hold, whether they be government qualifications or private sector qualifications, that would assist you in your ability to be an effective selectman?
You don't mean college degrees, do you?
You can say that if you
Okay.
like.
I have an associate's degree from Hampshire Tech. I have Hampshire College, I have a bachelor's. I've had the privilege and the good luck at BA Systems. They sent us to accelerated master's degree courses that we set up for our corporation through various, MIT being one for digital signal processing, which is the technical aspect for how all cell phones and everything else works today. For turbulence in the environment through MIT Sloan, which is down in Massachusetts. It's the business college. Dunn University down in University of Virginia for master's degree for business. We were down there for how we reorganize in a turbulent environment, which paid huge dividends at BA Systems because over the last 20, 30 years, we've done nothing but evolve the corporation. And also Northeastern was about traumatic changes in the workplace, sort of what happened after 9/11. And for us, it was all about how we're going to rebuild our company to meet the needs of the government for our customers. And as far as I work on 4 nonprofits. One is New Hampshire Tech and the President's Board Advisory for curriculum and review of what their budgets are doing. And I've been on the Adult Learning Center down in Nashua, which services some 3,000 or 4,000 people, 70 languages spoken. So on top of that, my 36 years, I don't know what to say. I mean, that's what I bring to the table. I don't really have any professional engineer credentials. That wasn't my career path.
Fair enough. Mr. Minton, what qualifications would you like to communicate to the voters around your ability to be an effective selectman?
I know I don't have a giant spreadsheet like Jack does because I'm 28 years old, but from my time working at GE, a lot of the stuff that I work on, it's critical components for jet engines that need to survive in the harsh environment that is a jet engine. And in the 9 years that I've been there, I've gone from just a kid coming off the street to now I've just finished what we call PR, where people can bring parts to me and I need to investigate that part, go through everything and see what we are allowed to do with that, whether we are allowed to rework it so it can be fit for service. And that decision level has an immense weight. Anybody knows what Sioux City is, there's a lot that happened with that. I encourage you to go research and look at the NTSB reports of that. But decisions that I make on a day-to-day basis require factual research and knowledge base to understand what the consequences of actions on those parts are. And that's decisions that I make every day. So, and that's regardless of the PR side of things. So understanding our critical prints and reading through those things. I was actually joking with my lawyer a month or so ago. I read more legal and sign more legal documents than he does, because every single document that I sign for work is a FAA regulated paperwork, some of which are DOD that go to them, and everything needs to be in order. So having that broad scope and understanding the weight of that, I think, is very critical to even just a town like where we do have 10,000 people and we got a lot of moving parts. So being able to not only just look at what's right before you, but what are the consequences of that going to be long term? How's this going to affect day-to-day operations of that? So that's the perspective that I've acquired over the last 9 years of working at GE, also working with my dad with building houses. And I think that's very beneficial to general management of a town like this.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hippler.
Have a question again?
Sure. So, what qualifications, whether they be in the private sector, whether they be previous, government work or town work, qualifies you to be an effective selectman?
So, obviously, my 9 years service to the board, that brings quite a bit to me. But, being a mechanic by trade, I've been a fleet manager. I was 4 years fleet manager outside of Concord on a trucking fleet of 400 units. And currently I am the assistant fleet manager of a fleet of about 110 units. And I know how they evolve, and the technology that's needed to properly track maintenance on those. With that said, the DPW, I plowed for the state of New Hampshire for a year, so I know what a plow truck driver here goes through. When the DPW director can come up to the podium and say, hey, I've got, this broken on a truck, I can say, yes, I know exactly what that is. That's going to be a hardship. We kind of need to go this route because you can't fix it because of this route. Being on the fire department, obviously I utilize the tools there. So when the chiefs come up and say, hey, we need this because of this, I can, if there's a little bit of a description barrier, the way that they're trying to describe it to the board, I can kind of help aid that. The police chief, I've worked hand in hand with the police department on emergency incidents. And being, on the fire department as long as I have, I've kind of been in almost every corner of the town, even some of the backwoods. So it helps to know the lay of the land, the struggles that every department may face. And again, I live it real time. The budgets, how parts increases and labor increases can cost more, vehicle maintenance to the fire department, for the police department, for the highway department, and all how that stacks up, and trying to help assist in maybe a different route of saving money there because of a practice I may have learned in my professional career. Maybe it'll help me on the town side. So I think both of them integrate very well for my position here.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Goodwin?
So, my professional career, as an emergency dispatcher and as a firefighter and EMT, you learn to assess situations rapidly and come up with the right solution effectively and promptly. As a dispatcher, you're only hearing people at their worst, or when something bad's happening. Nobody ever really calls just to say hi, So I've had a lot of experience dealing with people in crisis, which in a lot of ways it's similar to dealing with people that are just trying to get through life day to day, and everybody's struggling with mortgages and rising prices and so forth. So I can understand that. My education is, I have a bachelor's degree in geography, which I've used extensively as a dispatcher. And I have also served as it's called a Granite State Ambassador. A lot of times these are people that you see volunteering at trade shows, at the Manchester Boston Airport, helping folks to, they need a meal, you recommend something for them. So I've done that. I've also been a member of the Goffstown Rotary. I was with them for about 6 years total. In addition to that, I have a master's degree in public administration. I was actually thinking about becoming a town administrator at one point, and I don't really see myself doing that anymore. I'd rather do my handyman business, where I have a lot of experience with creative solutions to novel problems, and I think that translates pretty well to a select board member.
Right. Thank you. So back to Mr. Dearborn. What actions or priorities would you prioritize in this upcoming term that you're seeking for selectmen?
Well, the biggest problem we have in town is that we're about, in the 2025 budget, town budget is $9 million, and it's 18% of the tax that's levied. 69 is the schools, another 7, I believe, is for the state ed portion, and the rest is county. So when you walk into the voting, and you go through the school first, you have overload for taxes. And then we get to the town warrant, which has 25 to 30 line items. The first one, the biggest one, is being the operating budget, which is necessary. The biggest problem we have, by virtue of having, out of the last 10 years, 6 years of default budget, meaning that the town has been gracious enough to give the employees raises, and by the way, 57% of our budget of $9 million is wages. So the problem we have is, since 2023, we haven't had any raises on any of the line items other than wages and some other things. What's killing us in the operating budget is things that we out of our control. Primex, big boost from 2023, the numbers. Even workman's comp and these things, we don't have control. But we have finite dollars. The real problem we've got is getting this budget passed this year. I committed to delivering the information and at the deliberative session to get that sold. I hope I am successful. We're asking for a 4.16% increase, which most of those are about 7% if you think of from 2023 inflation that's hit. Not everything is linear with inflation, but on average, we're below, our 4.16% is below the inflation level. Even if we get this budget this year, we still have a problem with our capital assets. We have geriatric trucks, 3 of them. The last ones, before we got the replacement for one of the designated replacee, it crashed. The frame broke on the 10-wheeler Mack. I believe the 10-wheeler Volvo, the transmission is on its last legs. Even that, we still, if we can get it passed this year, we still have 2 geriatrics trucks left. And we have a 2015, which is our latest iteration we've been purchasing, which cost us $25,000 to keep on the road this year. So our repair budget for the DPW is $85,000. This year, we spent almost 180. That's because we keep putting money into this junk that we keep running because we don't have a choice. Police cars, same problem. I can go on for that. The protective clothing for the fire and for the police and the tasers are outdated. They need to be replaced on a recurring basis. Not enough money. There's $1,600, I think, for the police for protective clothing. It's like $6,000 a year that they need. There's no way they can keep up with that. So we're trying to take bites on this budget this year and limit it so we can get it passed. Next year, we got to take another look and see where are the critical issues to keep it moving forwards from a town. And everybody says, if we get sued because we don't have protective clothing or the car isn't capable of making it or the fire truck or whatever it is, we have insurance. We don't have insurance. We have a risk pool. Risk pool basically means they'll write the check and you pay roughly 85% over 4.5 years back. It's not insurance. It's a structured loan with a negative interest rate for repay. So having assets to support our people that we have, our 56 people in here, 10 sworn officers at the foot soldier level, 8 of the EMS, fire, and the 11, 12, 13, whatever it is for driving trucks. Getting the equipment for those people to be efficient. And we are a service delivery, the town of Ware is. We don't produce products. We produce a service. And what's happening is these budget items are being below what's needed because of inflation and not being passed over the last, if we don't get a budget passed this year, it'll be 7 budgets in the last 11 years we haven't got. So this is just to get us to the point of being functional. Day one this year, we had $228,000 above the default budget that we had to write for insurances, maintenance contracts, before we even start the year. So when we click over here, and if we get this default budget, we're going to be really in an extremist state. This budget was meant strictly to get us to the point of being functional. And then we got to go look to see what it's going to take for us to make the next step. Because we can't put all the money up there in one step. It won't pass. If we don't pass, we're in real trouble. So we're trying to figure out how to make these steps affordable for the town and so that the tax rate doesn't spike. Making up for I shouldn't say bad decisions because the decision made by the town in general, by voting, not by an individual. But the question is, how do we get that done? That's what my commitment is. Understanding of the budget, understanding of the risks, how it affects the departments, moving forward and getting that done. That's my objective for this year.
Thank you. Mr. Minton, your priorities you would bring into this term.
Yeah, so I see a lot of the same problems that Jack does, because I've talked to Tom Flaherty on the Finance Committee and Beth and a couple other people around town. But I also see the concerns that a lot of the townspeople have of, hey, they don't want their tax bill to go up. I just got reassessed this year, so my assessed value just went up 10 grand. So I get it. Hey, everybody's hurting. Times are tough. I'm a single guy who's trying to make it happen by himself. So when you got that $2,000 a month mortgage payment, if you're just bought a house or what else you got going on, I understand that it's, when you look at that increase on the line item by line item, hey, my tax bill is going to go up X amount every time that I vote for one of these things. And I think overall the town does an okay job with the mailer that goes out explaining some of those things if you really dig down into it and read through it. But the general perception of the town is the budget and the select board are a black box. And just things happen inside of it, and then we get a vote in March. And how those warrants are written, I know that they have to be written in a specific way because they are legal documents, so it's not going to be Oxford English, it's going to be legalese. So my biggest thing is communicating what's going on in the town and to the people in a more efficient manner. So doing things like making their Facebook page for Channel 6, doing a simulcast, so that way it's not just on YouTube, it's also on Facebook, because some people won't go there. Making it more apparent on what's going on. The town departments have done a great job of posting things in the Ware groups of, hey, here's this accident, here's what this is going on. The new stickers for the dump, Jason's done a good job at putting that stuff out there. But town business inside of this building doesn't really reach outside of that. You've got these videos, which are great. I sit here and watch them at home on Monday mornings, and even during work or whatever, I'll throw an earbud in. But they get 200 views, maybe, on a good video. So the information, while it's publicly available, it's not getting out there to the people in a manner that, and I know some people will argue, oh, well, they're not engaged or whatever. They still vote. They still make that journey. They still need to know what's going on. I went to the deliberative session. There were 35 town people there. I think the entire room had about 50 people, including selectmen, town officers. So I get it. There's a disconnect and there's frustration on both sides of this. So, but we need to bridge that gap, and that's something that I've done a good job at work between the guys on the floor and our engineers and our management of bridging that gap of, hey, here's what the engineers are doing, and here's why. here's the complaints that the guys on the floor are seeing and what they see wrong, and having that communication. So that's things that I think we should tackle, and hope we can.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Hippler.
Got the question again, please?
Yeah,
Been a few minutes.
what priorities would you bring to this term that you're seeking?
Yeah, continuation of what, Mr. Dearborn, Mr. Manton said. Communication's huge. It's very unfortunate, I feel, when we get done with the town elections and we only have 1,300 people show up for it. Yet, with the presidential primary, we'll get close to 6,000 out. I'm obviously aware of what affects my direct tax impact when I have to cut the check to the tax office. And as Mr. Dearborn said, it's very difficult to relay the information of the town is such a low percentage of your overall tax bill. Unfortunately, people come in the door, give their tax bill to the tax collector, and we're the face to the damage, I'll say. And then we distribute it. So it's very difficult to relay that information, and as Mr. Dearborn said, say, hey, we have an aged fleet of DPW vehicles. We have an aged fleet of police vehicles. Unfortunately and fortunately, our department heads do a hell of a knockout job with providing the service the town requests and requires. Unfortunately, sometimes they do it with a lot of sacrifice that they shouldn't have to do. Trucks safe for the road, but patched together with bale and twine and some duct tape. Police cars down at the repair facility, budgets are way over because we're maintaining old, tired iron. So I think communicating that better to a larger population, like Cortland said, over social media, because that's where a lot of the avenue is. Not everybody looks at YouTube. I don't even have cable. I can't see Channel 6. So I think the communication factor of saying, hey, we're in a hard spot here. This is X, Y, and Z is why we're doing it. You've all seen your grocery bills go up. All of our bills go up in the town as well, amplified times the size of the town. So I think it's just a communication thing.
Thank you. Mr. Goodwin? What
Yeah.
priorities would you bring to the term you're seeking?
Yeah, I agree with everything everybody said about communication. That's certainly something I thought a lot about, is that we need to disseminate information better. It seems like we can be, as a board and as a town employee, knowing what's going on, but getting that information out, sometimes people just don't know where to look. They don't know how to find it. They don't know what questions to ask sometimes. Mm-hmm. So it is incumbent upon us as a board to make sure that we are relaying that information the best we can. So I do agree with that. I will also agree with Mr. Dearborn that the budget being passed, we've worked very hard. And again, I've only been here since June, but in that time, we've worked really hard to listen to the department heads, what their actual needs are, where they are within their budgets, and what challenges they've had throughout the year to maintain and move forward. We're just floating. We're not able to go anywhere, move forward. There's no prioritization of future projects or anything like that, because we're just trying to make it at this point. So I think a priority will be to focus on getting to the point where we can actually maybe put some money away, maybe come up with a better system of informing people what we're doing. I don't like to think that we're a black box here. I mean, I'm very reachable. I'm very easy to find. And if anybody ever has a question, if I don't know the answer right off, I'll go get it. And I don't mind doing that. We had questions on Facebook about some different items. And it's about the solar project that we're promoting. People had questions, and I didn't have the exact answers. So I spent my time and went and found them, and hopefully I was able to provide the information in a way that made it make sense for people, some of the people that were asking, and, they were a firm no, and maybe now they're a yes. And that's, I'm not trying to change anybody's mind. I just want to be able to provide the right information so that if they say yes or no, they're coming from a point of understanding and not just a gut reaction to, oh, this is going to cost money. Which I understand that most people vote with their wallet, and I get a tax bill too, and I got to pay that myself. But as a public servant for my entire adult life, I do understand that when you have services in a town, and you have townspeople that expect those services to be performed, that comes at a cost. So we need to figure out how to mitigate the pain of providing those services at a cost that makes sense and is reasonable, and in a way that people can understand. So,
Right, thank you. So, and coming up, we're at about the 35-minute mark. I do want to open up for questions. But prior to that, just if you could, I'll give the instruction for the group here, kind of in sort of a quick elevator pitch style. I'd want to ask each of you, and we'll go down the line again, and starting with Mr. Dearborn, what is your vision for the town of Ware?
My vision for the town of Ware is operating on a business basis. We can pay our bills. We can anticipate our expenses, such as repairs, in a manner which will work. This is a service-oriented business, and the business is EMS, police, life safety, roads, life safety. We do have a piece of the budget which goes to the library and Parks and Rec. I've been here all my life. I had unlimited number of job offers within the corporation, because we're in World Corporation BA Systems, to live any place in the world I wanted to. I chose to make it 03281, and I suspect I'll probably end up here at the end, because I have my cemetery plot already picked out. So I'm here for a long term. I just didn't escape from someplace or decide to come here because it's better than it was where it was. I've been here, and I've been part of this society. This is my library when I went to school here. That was a study hall. Naomi's office is my home room for 4 years in high school. So I know the people, I look them in the face, and I feel a moral responsibility to deliver for the people in the town of Ware, to the best I can do it.
Thank you. Mr. May.
Yeah, so we are a service business, essentially. Jack is right. That's what we provide as a town. And I think this town has the capability, if it is smart with its finances, smart with its decisions, smart with its communication to the townsfolk, so they can also be making informed decisions, that we can have this partnership that we're supposed to have between the residents and the town governance to be able to operate efficiently and not have waste, but also be able to provide the services in an adequate manner where we don't have a blizzard like one of the voting days a few years ago, where the roads have 8 inches of snow on them and everybody's getting in their four-wheel drive trucks because it's the only way you're getting down to vote. And so we do have that bridge where everybody is working together. So that way we can have a place where everybody can thrive and be here in a place that a lot of people love. It's one of the reasons that I moved here, because I like communities like this where push comes to shove, people look out for each other. It's one of the reasons I love my neighbor Ken Holt. Him and I will be working on stuff, or I'll see him in his yard and he'll see me in mine, and we'll just drop whatever and help each other. Doesn't matter what it is. So that's kind of my vision for where our town is, what it should be.
Great. Mr. Hairplay.
My vision is trying to keep it, as close and similar to what I grew up in. I don't want to see it, obviously, we need some more commerce to come in to help reduce the tax load, but I don't want to see it become the next Goffstown. I don't want to see that much come in. We are a bedroom community. A lot of my friends and you know, high school classmates decide to live here as well, and they're raising their children here, and I want their children to have the same opportunities that we had. It was great. I loved living in this town. Like Mr. Manton said, you know, you know your neighbors, you know plenty of people. You can't go to Country 3 and walk through the door and not see 4 people you don't know. I always get questioned afterwards, you know, where were you? Well, I ran into so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. That's the kind of town I want to live in, that people feel comfortable approaching one another. But again, you know, as my two counterparts have stated, there's a business budget that goes along with it, where we still need to manage the town. We still have, you know, certain functions that we need to carry out. Unfortunately, they cost money. So like I said, to better educate those you know, the citizens, to say, hey, this is the business part of it. We can all be friends and you know, and love the town, but if we're going to keep the town the way it is, we need to do this, and this is why we need the money. So, thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Goodwin, your vision for the town.
So my vision for the town is not dissimilar to the 3 gentlemen to my left, is to have a place that people want to be. And people move to Ware because it's a good town to be in, and I want to keep it that way. I have a similar problem to Ricky. If I'm in a hurry, I don't stop at Country 3 Corners.
Can't do it.
Because I get trapped, and you know, and it's my own doing, because I'll see somebody and I'll go out of my way to say hi, and then I'm, oh, geez, I gotta go. So I get it. It really is a good feeling to know who your neighbors are, to see people you recognize, to chat with people, and you know, you only get a few seconds sometimes, but it's nice to be in a town where people are friendly enough and open enough to be saying hi to each other. So my vision for this town is to keep it a place that people want to be, and not have a mass exodus like some other towns perhaps in the area that shall remain nameless, that have gotten maybe a little too big for themselves. So we're a good town. We have a good group of people. We have residents that obviously care about the town. You know, I've only been here since 2013, but I put my kids through school here, and I don't plan on going anywhere. It's a nice place to be. My wife and I, after the kids got out of high school, we could have moved anywhere, and we didn't want to go anywhere. We like it here. So I'd like to keep it a town that we want to stay in, and that people want to be in. So that's my vision.
Perfect. So thank you all. Appreciate those responses and answers to the question. Thank you for humoring me. Hopefully they were informative to the voters. So now I would like to invite the public to ask questions of the candidates. Just from a high level perspective, I would like to keep the format, you know, Jeopardy style, as it were. So obviously, we want everyone to have their opportunity to communicate and say what they need to, but I would like them to be questions. I would like them to be phrased for the candidates would be appropriate. Although I would allow any one-on-one questions as well, as long as they're within the spirit of getting to know the candidates. So at this time, anyone who would like to approach the podium and ask questions of the candidates, the floor is yours.
You need me in my email?
Yeah.
Just have to put the microphone on.
Yep.
It's the one that's up, the one that's down.
Excellent, thank you.
Yep.
We're good?
Green light.
Most people here know me. One passion, I should introduce myself
Please,
to the
yes.
folks at home. Travis Corcoran, 275 Quaker Street. One passion of mine is transparency of government internals to the citizens. And during my time in the State House, I've introduced several bills on this. We already have RSA 91A, which is a great document where citizens can request data and get back government documents. And I've pushed, so far unsuccessfully, but onward and onward, trying to get proactive pushing of government data out. So, and the town does some of this, publishing budgets, school budgets, et cetera, but there's more that can be done. So that's just background. Here's the question, and this is because, I'm interested in transparency. If you have ever served, and this is to everyone, if you have ever served on a government board before, have you ever invented a classification system to withhold public documents?
No,
Jack, tell the truth, please.
no.
Jack, if you could pull out your phone and go to wherezoning.com, I've got evidence that you've done so.
Please.
This sounds more like a personal
Please.
attack than a
No,
question.
You still have a problem about 271 Quaker Street variance.
Dan?
You spent your money,
Yeah,
you
Jack,
vented your spleen.
Jack. So based on the.
Wait a minute, we have a
No,
public
no, 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 no,
participation policy.
I'm the moderator.
Public participation policy.
I
in this
understand,
town.
and it's my decision to moderate the interaction as I see fit. Here's how this is gonna happen. Travis is able to ask the question. The question's been asked. Is that fair?
Yes.
Do you feel that the question's been asked?
It has.
The question's been heard.
And I answered it, no.
I'll allow that answer.
Okay. I'd like a follow-up, but if everyone else
Can
could
I,
answer as well.
can I
please.
ask a clarifying question?
Sure.
I'm not sure I understand what the
Sure.
question really is.
So at the federal government, for
Sorry.
example, there's classification systems, classified, eyes only, diplomatic staff,
Okay,
State Department.
okay, yeah.
Serving in government, have you, and if you haven't served in government before, then the answer is obviously no, but serving in government, have you ever said that something is, say, attorney-client confidential, or need to know, or eyes only, something like that?
So as I've been involved in law enforcement in the capacity of a dispatcher, and there are some documents that I've seen that are confidential. I've never come up with a classification. I'm not the person
right, so
that's
that-
way above my pay grade, ever was. But I've seen documents that are law enforcement sensitive or confidential to protect perhaps a minor.
Right.
In a situation. But as far as myself doing the classification,
Exactly.
I've never had to do that.
Cool,
So
thank
no.
you.
I'd like to amend my statement.
You may answer the question. Yeah, answer the question. Yeah.
Freedom of Information Act came in. We had a few minutes left before I had to respond. My practice down at BA Systems, whenever we get a customer, government, whoever does a information request, everything we send on a preface on the subject means it says attorney-client privilege, legal, general counsel legal only. We send everything to those people. They decide which stuff's in and out and forward everything to them. I asked Naomi, I says, how do we do this? I says, I normally send this stuff directly to the lawyer. And you want it sent to you. She said, but do whatever you normally do. And I did that. It all went to the lawyer. She says, it's all fine. It all went to him. I didn't create it. I was doing a beast of habit because I asked the policy and there wasn't one. Because I thought I might have had some stuff that may have been legal because I was the chairman of the board asking legal questions to town council through Naomi. I wanted to make sure that it was not coveted. As it was, it all went through. That was my attempt to protect the legal part of the town of Ware's opinions. That's all it was. He took off on this thing as if
I don't
conspired.
want, there's going to be no pointing or, you've answered the question? I think the question's been answered.
I believe I've gotten an answer. I was hoping for a truthful answer. If any viewers at home want to go to wherezoning.com, they can see the actual emails that Jack sent where he invented 3 different classification systems. Would the other 2 members answer if they've ever invented a
first. I'd
legal
love to.
classification system?
I'd love to. Go ahead if you want.
Okay. I've never worked in government. I follow in my private business for GE. I follow their classification system, but I do agree that towns should be, to your first question, should be prompt in communicating as much as they legally can,
Right.
That's what I did.
as often as they
Yeah.
can,
No.
with being as accurate as they can.
Right.
Because being prompt with it doesn't mean it's correct
Right.
information. So
That's a wonderful answer. And if people are truthful and follow the law, as you're saying you would, then there wouldn't have to be a whole second lawsuit to make the town agencies and
cost
board
us
members.
money with
Right,
legal
exactly.
fees
And
and
so there
everything.
was.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway.
Thank you for your
Either
answer.
way.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, my experience is 9 years of 91A. So,
Yep.
so to answer your question, no.
Yep.
I'm glad he asked for the clarification, because I was a little confused too.
Yep.
And I do agree, you know, we can agree that 91A is structured very well.
Right.
But to Cortland's point, yes, I think, you know, obviously, rapid firing information is wrong. You know, take it in, study it a little bit, and make sure it's correct information
Yeah.
going out, not hearsay or whatever. So,
Agreed. And,
yep.
you know, sometimes even there's 6 months and multiple requests, and when the classification system just keeps getting used, it causes everyone, taxpayers, money. So,
Understood.
Ricky, in the past, I've RSA 91'd you, and you've always been prompt and correct. So, as a side note, I'd like to thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for the candidates?
No?
Okay.
Very good.
Hearing none, I'd allow for kind of a final, you know, closing statement akin to your opening statement on the front end. We'll start with Mr. Goodwin.
Well, I have certainly appreciated the opportunity, and I hope that there's people that are watching or listening that have gotten a good sense about who we are as candidates. And I hope people would take away that, for me personally, it's been an honor to even be appointed and serve for the short time that I have, and I very much am looking forward to continuing that. And I hope I can do a lot of good for the town.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would echo what Mr. Goodwin's saying. It is a very complicated spot to be in, but it's a very humbling spot, and I was very proud with the 9 years I was here on the accomplishments that the town made. You know, I look back and, you know, when Naomi Stay, she was retiring, and Mr. Cahill stood up there and said that she'd worked under so many different select board members. It was like, you know, you start putting your history, you know, on a timeline, and it's like, wow, I mean, my name's on the road bond, my name's on the DPW building, you know, the police chief. It's like, you know, this is, you know, those are some key players, and you get lost in the day-to-day, and you just, you know, but then you look over it and you go, wow, I really did try and do my best and make an effort for the town. So I think that I'm looking forward to, again, as Mr. Goodwin said, I would have liked to have seen a couple more names on the ballot, you know. Not that, you know, I'm glad that, you know, at least we filled the seats, but I'd rather see a lot more participation with the town. And like I said, and I'm looking forward to, you know, making more milestones for the town. So, and I hope it's a good group, and, you know, we actually, you know, boots to the ground and get some things done. So.
Thank you. Mr. Mann?
I've appreciated the time to not only come here to this forum today, thank you for the invite, Naomi, and even though it was kind of short notice, but I'm free Wednesday nights anyway, so.
A lot of that had to do with me, in fairness. A lot of that had to do with me. Yes.
It's all good. I was kind of sitting there last week scratching my head of like, I thought we did that.
Yeah.
But, and I've appreciated the opportunity to speak with some of the voters and residents, the support that I've been given. And I hope that even if I don't win, because I know that I'm a new man on the block, not just here on running for select board, but even just in town, because I've only been here for 4 years, that some of the things that I've proposed and spoke about, not just tonight, but also online, that they get enacted, so that way we do build a town public partnership, so that way everybody understands what's going on, things can operate a little bit more smoothly. We don't have, which I do appreciate Benson on Facebook for going and sharing what the electric commission and the solar panels, because there was a lot of
Questions.
misunderstandings and not complete picture of what the situation did, and I think you and a couple others, I was in there commenting too, of like, no, that's not what they said, that's not what's going on. So I do think things are headed in the right direction with that, but I think those things are very important, so.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Dibble?
Mr. Moderator, I appreciate you giving me a second chance to clear my good name. In my career, I've held the highest security clearances. I've had the highest level of ethics and integrity requirements placed on me as a corporate officer. I act out of abundance of caution. I put that label on for the sole purpose of making sure it had a review by the attorney before I get released. Unfortunately, a person that has a personal animus with me, hang on, please.
No,
You
you're
attacked me
allowed
tonight.
you're allowed to respond, but let's
I
try not
know.
to.
You let him go. Just please let me. And I would consider an honor and a privilege to serve again. Thank you. And I appreciate your vote.
All right. That should be it, so thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Come out and vote.
Yeah, do you need, yeah.
March 10th, come out and vote, 7 to 7.
Yep.